but I had my confidence knocked really badly, so I stopped. Obviously, being a creative isn't seen as like a proper job. That's when I came back, and then obviously I was at a bit of a loss as to what on earth I was going to do with my life. And that, I guess, kind of re-sparked that ignition within myself that I really...
Lorna Dandy is a small business owner in the United Kingdom. Lorna, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure. I am super excited and I can't wait to get into this. And I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule because I know how busy you are.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, Lorna, how was your day yesterday?
Yeah, it was good. Busy, but yeah, good. Just, yeah, lots of work, lots of emails and admin more than anything.
That is impressive. Now, Lorna, I know I've been checking out your socials, but just before I get into that a little bit, next question that I want to ask you is what I call a backstory snapshot, okay? Now, a backstory snapshot, I like to think of them as moments or events of things that may have happened in your early years or a few years back, that when you look at those moments or events, you go, yep, they have shaped me to be who I am today. Mm-hmm. So what are your backstory snapshots, if you have any?
I guess I have two that are kind of recent as to why I do what I do now. Yeah. The first one was when I got my dog. You can probably tell whichever side it is. I am a huge dog lover. So in 2016, I got a dog with my partner. It's our first dog together. Yeah. And he is a big, big part of my life. And the reason that I started drawing again, because it got to a point where I was like, I want a drawing of him, but I don't know who I want to do it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to doodle him. And that kind of got me back into art by drawing my own dog. But then again, I never thought this was going to be a career. So I actually went to university for law.
Okay.
So during my degrees, I've done 2 degrees. I've done my undergraduate and my master's. Now, unfortunately, during my degrees, I've lost 2 grandparents, but I'm the kind of person where I didn't stop to grieve. So I just kept going, but I kind of kept going back to art to sort of distract myself with all the stress and everything. And then that's when we had lockdown. And obviously, because the whole world was forced to stop, that made me stop. And that's when my mental health, I was like, okay, my mental health isn't great here. And yeah, that's kind of how lockdown kind of helped me start basically what I do now. So I'd say they're my 2 moments, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot there that I would love to unpack. So I'm going to try and go through all that, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first one I want to go through is, so you said that you used to do drawing, is that right? Can you tell me a little bit more about what sort of drawing you were doing before your current business?
I started with graphite pencils, so just black and white drawings, 1 pencil. And I drew in school, did it in school, but I had my confidence knocked really badly, so I stopped drawing for many years. When I say I stopped drawing, I stopped doing detailed drawings. I would still find a scrap of paper and would be doodling in the corner. So there was still kind of me doodling, but it wasn't an intense drawing session. And then, I used to just stick with graphite because I was actually scared of using colour within my work, again, due to this confidence knock that I'd had. So when I say I used to draw, it's taken me a while to come back into the way that I do it now.
Wow. So I can relate because in high school, lots of other kids might say something like, this teacher inspired me to do this and this teacher inspired me to do that. So was your knockback in confidence, was it due to a teacher or a friend, or what happened to give you that bit of a shake up?
Yeah. There was quite a mixture. There was a teacher. Unfortunately, I don't really have a teacher story where I can go, he inspired me to do art. There wasn't any of that. There was the knockback. A few not in a horrible way, but a few family members, because obviously being a creative isn't seen as like a proper job. So
Yes.
not that they were being horrible to give me that knockback, but they were like, right, you need to go out and do this. Because when I was younger, animals have been in my life, my whole life. I was born into a family of animal lovers. We've had horses, we've had dogs. And when I was younger, I wanted to be a vet. And I think because I told my family I'm going to be a vet, all the way up to I think I was about the age 14, 15, that's where I was going. And not that I disappointed family members, but they were just wanting to encourage me to keep going into the veterinary field. So it was like, put your drawings on a back burner. And I think just sort of subconsciously, that's given me a bit of a knock, like, oh, maybe I can't draw, maybe I can't do this. And then I did go to university for an animal related course, but realized it just wasn't for me. I love my animals, but I didn't want to work with them in that sense. Yeah. So that's when I came back. And then obviously I was at a bit of a loss as to what on earth I was going to do with my life. And then, it's just kind of snowballed from there. Wow.
That is inspiring, and I would like to go into it a little bit more. Yeah. So obviously you wanted to be a vet, and then your dog inspired you. Can you take me back to that day when you thought, you know what, I want to pick up that pencil. I want to, draw my dog. Can you take me back to that day when that inspirational, sort of hit you?
So I will always say that that dog's the best thing that ever happened to me. He was never the plan. We wanted a female. We didn't want a puppy from his litter. But when he was 3 days old, I fell in love, and he was coming home with me no matter what. I always say he's the dog I didn't know I needed, but he knew I needed him. So because of how special that dog is to me, I was like, I want a drawing of him. But at the time, and I can kind of see now why my clients are kind of getting like, ask all your questions. I didn't know what artist to go to. Did I want him in colour? Did I want him in graphite? Did I want oil paints? Like, I had no idea what I wanted. And just one day I had some pencils laying about, and I was like, I'm going to give it a go again. And picked up the pencils, and I drew a picture of him when he was a puppy. And that, I guess, kind of re-sparked that ignition within myself that I really enjoyed this. And I definitely started picking up the pencils a lot more after I'd drawn him.
That must have been a very incredible feeling to sort of realize that, oh my goodness, what have I just done here? I bet you were like, did you surprise yourself?
Yeah, because I didn't realize I could still draw, and it came out. I mean, it probably, looking back, it was a good piece, but not my best piece. But at the time, I was so proud of that piece. And it was like, I can do this. And it kind of helped give me a little bit of confidence back, that I was like, actually, I do enjoy this. And all those doodles that I still do, there's a reason that I'm still doodling.
Yeah.
So, it was really good.
Very good. So then, so you've drawn your dog and you felt, pretty good about yourself. What inspired you to put it onto Instagram or social media? Can you tell me, like, what thought, what
so it all started. Yeah. Well, it all started on Facebook initially, but on my personal Facebook. And I was just like, because I overshare my dog. Everybody knows my dog. They get pictures of him every day. And I was just like, well, maybe they'll like to see this, because I am surrounded by a lot of animal lovers in my life. So I shared that picture of him, like, I'm proud of this drawing. I've managed to draw my own dog. And then, because obviously it was nice to have some really nice feedback, I started drawing more and more. And it was just nice to have that support from a community that I already had within my life. Even though they weren't artist people or creative people themselves, they are the people that obviously I now want to work with. So it was really nice to have that feedback. Didn't think it would go the way that it did, but it was also sharing it on social media. It was also a way for me to look back. I really like sharing stuff that I can go back to years later and go, I did that at this point in my life. So it was kind of a mixture of sharing to other people what I can do, but for myself more than anything.
Fantastic. And definitely there's a healing process that I'm sure you went through with that. and to and then obviously feedback from family, friends. That is such a great boost on anyone's morale. So fantastic. So you shared it onto your personal page, and then when did you decide to make it into a business? Because on your Instagram, I've read so many amazing comments and people wanting to, for you to do commission work. When did you started to think, do you know what, I think this can be a business, not just a little share here and there?
Well, I've done throughout the years. I've kind of done little commissions for family friends with the graphite. But it wasn't until I went to university where I started drawing more, because obviously doing a degree within law is very intense. So having my drawing as a way for me to just like escape all the assignments and essays and everything that I had to do with that was my escape mechanism and my way of coping. Especially my anxiety. I'm a very anxious person, so it was a really good escape mechanism. And then, as I mentioned, lockdown hit, and that's when my mental health was not in a good place. So I really took the time. I was lucky that I had the time where I could spend just kind of reconfiguring myself in a way. Because I was meant to do my PhD, and I decided in my head I wasn't doing my PhD at home alone, not during lockdown. I didn't want to do that, so I delayed that. And because we had all this time, I picked up my pencils again, and I did start with graphite, but then I was like, I've got all this time where I can have a go with the coloured pencils again, because I found with my graphite work, I felt very stagnant. Like, I knew what I was doing, but I wasn't pushing myself to get better. So I felt stagnant. So I was like, I'm going to give coloured pencils a go. And as soon as I did my first coloured pencil piece, I was like, there's something here that I really enjoy the challenge of. And then obviously I shared that one online, and then people were like, well, are you doing commissions in colour? So at that time I was like, well, no, because I've only done this one and I don't have the confidence to do a colour piece. But the more that I kept drawing, the more people were asking for the colour. And this is when I started the Instagram, and I started sharing pieces. And again, it was friends and family. They were a great starting point for me to do commissions. And then it just kind of went from there. I don't know what happened. Just one day, 6 months later, that was it. I was booked for 6 months. And it's, been a crazy ride since that. This is now what I can do as a business.
Yeah, lovely. That is so inspiring. And I love it that, because you mentioned that you're very anxious, and this is like your way of, keeping calm, keeping cool, getting your mind at ease and everything. And a lot of people can definitely relate, especially during lockdown, being locked, in their houses, and they can't really do much. What can they do? And I've found that a lot of people have actually done the accidental business, sort of avenue. And it's just been amazing for, their mental health and everything. Yeah. So it is fantastic to hear your story and how you made it sort of like you went with the flow and just step by step got going. So good on you. That is super impressive. Yeah. And so with your drawings, I can imagine they would be very time consuming. Yeah. And I would love to know how long it took you to draw that. There was a picture of a horse, and I think you mentioned this is your second horse drawing. Oh my goodness, the detailing. I am going to insert this one on the screen for people to see, especially when they're watching on YouTube, to see it, because it is fascinating. It is just amazing. And I mean, the comments there are just mind-blowing. So can you tell me how long it took you to draw that particular horse?
I don't know the exact amount of time, but I think we were close to about 40 hours in total with that piece. Wow. Coloured pencils is probably one of the slowest mediums you could use. And the way that I like to work is very slow and methodic and building up layer by layer, so that I almost have that look that I've drawn it hair by hair. So it definitely took a while, but I found with that horse piece especially, because I don't draw horses often, I definitely slowed myself down and just because it was a piece for myself, I was able to slow down and just take my time and build it up to what you've seen as the finished piece, rather than thinking I had the stresses of it being a commission for somebody. And obviously, not that I have a time limit as such. Obviously, if people give me deadlines, I will reach the deadlines. But most of my clients let me kind of go with the flow, and the piece comes together when it comes together. But because I didn't have that pressure as such, it was nice that I could just really take the time and just strip it back and really focus on creating a piece for the horse.
Yeah, it is just magnificent. And I also read that somebody was asking you what sort of color pencils that you use, and I think you mentioned Faber Castell and then 2 other kind of pencils. Can you tell me what they are and why do you use those 3?
Yeah. So I actually started with Faber Castell Polychromos. When I first started with coloured pencils, I was like looking online at what other artists used, and they were the brand that were recommended a lot. And I love those pencils. If they had some of the range of colours that the other brands I use had, I probably would only use the Faber Castell Polychromos. I also use Caran d'Ache, and then it's the Caran d'Ache Luminance and the Caran d'Ache Pablos. So all 3 types of pencils just have different qualities about them, which I use in different ways. So the Luminance are very soft, waxy pencils. I've never used Prismacolor, but people have compared them to Prismacolor, very soft and waxy. So I like to use them more for my base layers or blending. The Pablos have a really nice grey range that I love to use. Again, softer than the Polychromos, but not as soft as the Luminance. So they act as a really nice in-between. And then the Polychromos is the ones that I just adore. I would use, as I said, I'd use them for everything, but because they're a harder lead, I'm able to get those intricate details that I like within my work with the Polychromos. So it's kind of it's taken me time to find a blend of pencils that I like to use and how to use them, but they create the way that I use them help me to create the results that I'm after with my work.
Yeah. Well, the images, they look like a photograph. And I think somebody said that when they look at your art, it's almost like the animal or the art is going to pop out, and I'm like, I see that so much. And so you go.
Well, I was going to say, I think that's what I like about my work. Well, I like that it looks realistic, but up close, you can see the pencil strokes, and that's a quality that I want to keep. Even though I do get those lovely comments that, it looks like a photo, I do love that when my clients get the piece, they're like, you can see the pencil strokes, and that's kind of the quality that I want to keep within my work, that realism, but the fact that it is a piece of art, not a photograph.
Fantastic. And so do you obviously you get when you get sent their commission work, they send you a photograph so you can really get all that perfection. Do you do painting or drawings from memory at all, or do you just always like to have something?
Always like to have a photo. I actually, if somebody told me to visualize an apple, I kind of know what an apple is, but I can't visualize that in my head. So I know there's a name for it and I can't think of the name, but I am one of those people that I don't see images in my mind. So there's no way that I could sit and create a piece without a photo. But the thing that I can do is if I've got a photo, I've had photos where people want me to remove the collars. And obviously I don't have the photo without the collar, but because I've got that image in front of me with the collar, and I know animals really well, especially dogs, I'm able to sort of know what's going on under that collar, even though I can't see what's happening. So it's always have a photo, because I wouldn't be able to do what I do without a photo, especially the hyperrealism. I definitely need that photo.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It really makes sense. And then the next thing I'd love to go on to is the way you draw your white, say rabbits or white dogs. And I think you mentioned on Instagram Reel that you have a very specific way that you'd like to have the white showing and popping. And then you mentioned how you like to have the blacks really popping as well. Can you tell me about the processes that you use, whether you're doing a white drawing or a black drawing?
Yeah. So a group of my friends, we all have this saying with me is I see the rainbow and I draw the rainbow. The thing with white fur and black fur, well, any fur, is that it's so reflective with colours. And I really love to inject those colours into my work. But the way that I like to describe my work as colourful, but subtly colourful. So like we've got the Dalmatian here. I like my white fur to look like white fur on white paper. And it's that challenge of getting it to look like it is white fur, but it's against the white paper. I love that absolute challenge. And the way that I go about it is literally just throwing all the colours at it. There'll be pinks in there, there'll be purples in there, greens, blues. And people see me draw and see me add these colours and they'll be like, but why is my dog pink and purple? And you're like, if you just watch as the progress goes, I add all these really bright colours and then I come in with like my grey tones and it just kind of knocks those colours back. But then you're left with this dog or hare, whatever, horse, that looks like it's white fur. And the same with black fur. It's all about throwing in all those colours, the blues, the greens. I literally just chuck so many colours. I would say I use upwards of 50, 60 colours easily with every portrait that I do. I use a lot of colours in my work, yeah.
That is impressive because, yeah, like when you look at it, most people like me, not artistic, we go, yep, that's white. But then the way that you're describing that detailing, that is, you really have to, one, be very, very patient and be very, very talented, obviously. Yeah. So, wow.
It's definitely something that I've kind of learned over the years. Like when I first started doing white fur, I did not throw half as many colours as I do now. In fact, my first coloured pencil piece was black and white fur. I used a black pencil and I left the white fur the white of the paper. Whereas now, as I said, I'll chuck all the colours at it. So it's something to do with confidence. I've built up that confidence and every portrait is a learning curve. And there's one piece that comes to mind. It's a Springer Spaniel called Toby. He was a commission and he was the first commission that I was like, I need to use green in this white fur. And I was scared of doing it. But as soon as I did it, that was like, a light bulb went off in my head and I was like, okay, I do actually need to use so many colours in this white fur. And then it's spiraled from there because I throw everything at it now.
Yeah, wow. So I can definitely imagine your customers just being mind blown. Can you tell me some of the wonderful, I'm sure they are amazing comments or feedback that they give you when you send them the
The main one that comes to mind is
Right, now quickly, if you are watching my channel, Small Business Owners Secrets to Success, and you have not subscribed yet, please, 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 can I ask you to subscribe and share, like and comment if you can do that, because it really, really helps me a lot and it helps spread the word of how small business owners can be supported. So be sure to do that. And thank you once again. Back to the podcast. When you send them
the main one that comes to mind is I did an English setter called Mr. Freckles, and he was the first piece that went viral for me. And obviously the way that I work with my clients is they get updates all the time. They get photos as the piece is progressing. I'm on TikTok and I draw live on TikTok. So people get to watch, if they want to watch the progress of their pets, they get to watch it. So it was nice to keep this client updated about her dog. Obviously, I get the stories about their dogs. So when she saw the photos and the videos of him, she was blown away. But it's photos and videos just don't do them justice. There's only so much that I can do before they receive it. And the amount of people that will tell me that it looks so much better in person. Not that it looks horrible in the photos, but just having it up close is such a different experience. And the feedback that she gave me, she'd had artwork from other people, but there was something special about this piece. And it's those little comments like that I have a little saying that I'm capturing a memory to last a lifetime. And knowing that I'm able to do that for people is what I love about what I do. So yeah, little comments like I've captured her dog, and yeah, it was really nice to have her feedback.
Yeah, definitely. Wow, you must be.
There was another client. Well, there was another client who I was drawing his cat, who unfortunately his living circumstances had changed, so he couldn't keep his cat. So I had a little comment from him that I've been able to capture his cat so that his cat is still with him, even though it's not. And it's little things like that that I just love about what I can do.
Yeah, wow. I can imagine that your DMs, your email is like clogged up with so many requests for commission. So on that note, do you do you have to sort of have like a cutoff saying, no, I'm sorry, I'm not taking any more commissions? How do you deal with the overwhelming amount of requests for work?
Yeah, this year's been the hardest for it because of how viral I've gone this year, which is just overwhelming, and I'm so grateful for. But I do have a wait list, and in my head, I kind of know how long a piece is going to take depending on the size. So something like the size of the Dalmatian, this was a 12 by 16 drawing. She's going to take me around 2 weeks. So the way that I book my commissions is I have people tell me what size they want, and then they can go in my diary, sort of blocking out those 2-3 weeks. And it is getting to a point now where I am fully booked for next year. So I'm now having to kind of take a step back and work out how far ahead do I actually want to book myself? Because, as I said, I'm a very anxious person, and I don't like the idea of knowing in a way that I've got 2 years waiting list. Because that's a scary thought, that I've got all these people waiting. But at the same time, I'm so grateful that people are willing to wait. So it's like, it's a battle with myself, with my as I say, my mind, telling myself that, I don't need to be anxious. People are willing to wait. And there are people that are willing to wait. But it's also, how far ahead do I want to book? So I am actually looking at potentially changing how I do my bookings now, just because of how busy I am getting. So it's like, do I set up a waiting list and I just open my commissions once a year? People email me, e-book in, and then it's done, rather than me trying to cope with emails and try to do, as a business owner, you're trying to do everything at once, and it is just me. And it is getting to a point where I'm like, I need to find a system that works for me now rather than how it worked for me last year. So it's hard, but it's a constant learning curve, and I'm trying to work it out.
Wow. Well, you're doing a really good job, because as a business owner, there is a lot that we have to do, and we have to wear different hats. And I'm just going to go into that next sort of questions, because the many different hats we wear can range from, website, being the financial person. So can you tell me some of the current hats that you're wearing and how you're dealing with that?
I'm wearing everything at the moment. So there's social media. There's the admin side, so all my emails, which I'm still behind on. I'm trying to catch up, but that's kind of where the social media crosses over, because I will tell people, like, bear with me if I've not got back to you. There's obviously the finances. It's coming up to our tax year here in the UK, so I'm currently trying to get them sorted. I've got to do all my stock take because I want to get an order in before Christmas, so I've got enough to keep me going over that period. It's just constantly, it's like a revolving door. I feel like you do one thing, you do the social media, then you go through your revolving door and you're doing your finances, back through that door and you're doing something. It's like, it's constantly, no matter what you do, there doesn't seem to be a stopping point. You've just got to constantly kind of keep going around this door and entering other little doors and doing little bits here and there. So there's a lot.
So would you maybe in the future, would you look into getting help and support? And obviously not with your drawing, because that's unique to you.
I'm definitely looking at getting an accountant now. It wasn't something that I thought I needed before, but that takes off one job for me. I can just send everything to them. That's sorted with. So that's my job. That's probably my next year's job, is to get an accountant. And then I have thought that at some point I'm probably going to have to get someone to help me with my emails, because, say, for example, on Monday, I didn't do any drawing because I was literally sat doing my emails all day. And as much as I love talking to people, I really hate the admin side of running a business. So I think having somebody that knows me, though, not that I don't want to employ just anybody. I want someone that knows me and how I like to communicate with people. And I think that is probably the route that I'll go when it comes to having someone helping me with my email side of things.
Fantastic. That is a wise decision, and it is something that as a small business owner we all have to go through. You sort of start the business, you're like a one-woman show or a one-man show, and you're doing it, and then all of a sudden you're thinking, okay, I need to be strategic here. So good on you for having that in mind.
Yeah, it's in my mind, but I'm also the kind of person that I don't like letting control go. And the fact that I can control everything at the moment, and again, it's one of those scary steps, and I know I've got to do it. It's just, again, working myself up to, right, I do have to let go of control here, and it will make your life easier. But yeah, it's one of those I don't like letting go.
Understandable, yeah. So I'm just going to shift gear here just a little bit. So you said that your family and friends have been supportive, but I'd like to go back a little bit where you mentioned at the beginning that some of your family members were saying, oh, you probably should put that aside and focus on law. How are they feeling right now that you're super successful at what you're doing?
I still have great support from my family. I think it still took them a while because none of my family are in the creative field. They're all doing the generic 9 to 5 or a 12-hour shift. And it definitely took them a while because I was the first person in the family to go to university. So I kind of get where they were coming from, like that maybe they felt I was throwing away my degree. But the way that I see it is, if for whatever reason this art career didn't work out, or years down the line it hasn't worked out, I've got that to fall back on. So it's kind of like I've got a backup plan waiting if needed. But now, yeah, they're really supportive. I had family members come and help me frame some pieces. They've commissioned me themselves now. So it's nice to have that support. And I always say it's nice to show people wrong. I am that kind of person where if someone tells me I can't do it, I'm going to show you that I can. And yeah, as I say, might have taken them a while to come around to the idea, but they are now seeing that it is a viable career. And yeah, that maybe because I am the only one in the family not doing a typical 9 to 5. Yeah, it definitely took them a while, but yeah, they've come around to it now.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, so the next thing I like to go into is you've talked about amazing, successes and everything just going so well. And I know that you've said you're a very anxious person. So what sort of challenges have you had to go through with your business? And have you ever thought, did you go through a process or a stage where you're like, oh my goodness, this is just too much. Just let me be. You've been through that. And how did you pick yourself up again?
Yeah, so I guess...
Hi there, just a quick little word from our sponsor. Now, as you know, I'm a small business owner and this is my small business, See My Curls. So basically, See My Curls, my small business, sponsors this channel. So if you have wavy hair, curly hair, coily hair, or locks, and you like to try some natural, handmade and organic products, be sure to check out seemycurls.com.au, and I hope that will inspire you to continue your curly hair journey. And yeah, let me know how you go. You can either follow me on my See My Curls Instagram page, or you can follow me at my Instagram page as well for these channel. All right, back to the podcast. This is just too much. Just let me be. You've been through that. And how did you pick yourself up again?
Yeah, so I guess the one thing I don't know if it's I guess for most businesses, most social medias, everybody tells you put yourself out there. And that was so scary for me. Again, having that lack of self-confidence. I hated the fact that I would have to put my face out there. So I used to hide behind my artwork. And you can see this on all my social medias. If you scroll through them all far enough, you'll see on Instagram, I never posted my face. On TikTok, when I first started on there, I didn't post my face. There was no voiceovers at all on there. Same on Facebook. And it's been a gradual process that over the years, I've gone, right, I've completed this step of sharing my artwork. So what can I do to push myself out of my comfort zone? And pushing myself out of my comfort zone is something that I like to do. It all started obviously by using coloured pencils. That was coming out of my comfort zone. So every year, it's like every 6 months or however long, it's pushing yourself out of that comfort zone, which is hard. As you said, being an anxious person, it is so hard for me to do. And I'm constantly thinking, oh, I'm going to do something wrong. But every step of the way, I've had great support. But then again, as I've gone viral, this is where the anxiety kind of takes over. And for example, I've gone viral recently and my email box is exploding. And I'd say it took me a couple of days before I felt I could face the emails, because it just kept pinging and pinging and pinging. And I am the kind of person where I'm just like, I just want to run away and hide. I always say I just want to be in a corner drawing dogs and everyone can forget about me. So it's one of them where, because it has happened in the past and I knew how badly I handled it then by being so behind on emails, I've got little systems in place where I give myself the time to run away and hide, and then I will sit down and even if it means just answering 10 emails, once I've made that start, I can then go, right, I've done the first 10, I can do the next 10, and then it's easier for me to ease my way into answering that email box. And then as that number goes down, that's when it starts kind of getting easier with the anxiety. Like, okay, you're getting there. It's not as scary as you thought. And it's not scary. It's just answering emails. But it is that, I think, because when it first initially happens, it generally happens overnight when I'm in bed. So I wake up to this hundreds of emails and I'm just like, oh my God, what's happened? And yeah, it's about finding systems and methods that help. And I'm finally sort of got a method that's definitely helping when this has happened.
Very smart woman. I like that. That is definitely something to for small business owners to be mindful of. And I mean, I go through phases as well where I'm like, oh my goodness, I just need a day off. Come on, I just want a day off where I'm not thinking about anything else, just want to relax and chill. So on that note, what sort of things do you do to have like a work-life balance, to rest?
Mm-hmm. Well, I definitely didn't have a work-life balance. I, again, the sort of person that I am, I used to be 24/7, every day of the week, I'm working because I work from home, it's at home, it's easy, and I love drawing. But I would say it was probably when I first went viral, I realised like I need time for myself. And again, this is where my dog comes into it. So I do a lot of hiking with him. I love going out into nature and just walking and just being in the middle of nowhere. And I've got to a point now where I don't like taking my phone with me. If I'm going local, I won't take my phone. Obviously, if I'm going for a long walk, I'll take it just in case, but everything will be switched off. And it's that kind of switching off that I realise that I actually do need. So again, the walks with the dogs. I've been participating in dog shows since I was 5, probably younger. And the dog shows is, again, I meet a nice community of people, but I also get to take my camera. So photography, even though it's creative, it's something that I really enjoy, is capturing moments, again, of people's pets in a different way that maybe they wouldn't see them. So yeah, I'd say that's kind of my way of relaxing at the moment. And me and my partner are currently renovating a house. So it's nice every now and then just to, even though it's hard work, just to do something with my partner in that sense.
Very good. Very good. It is definitely something that we all need to do as well. I can definitely relate having to do something different, because over the years, running my business for 10 years now, I used to get into the habit of just work, no break, and I've got three kids, so that, they keep me busy, but I found that it was family work, nothing in between to like relax and stuff. And my husband would be like, you should, go for a walk on the beach or go for a run. I'm like, no, I'm too busy. But lately I've decided to, play sport, to do something different, go for a walk on the beach after I drop the kids off. So it is definitely something to do. Yeah.
It's
so well done.
It's something that I've learned over the years. And like even something as simple as answering emails after a certain time now. I mean, it's hard because obviously I have clients all over the world and with the time zones, but it'll get to say 9 o'clock in the evening here and I'll go, right, that's it, no more emails, because otherwise I would be sat in front of my computer. Even if I'm sat in the lounge with my partner watching TV, I would still be sat answering emails. So I've learned and I've told myself, like, no, you've got to cut off. You don't answer emails, because if people were emailing like a bigger company, they wouldn't expect an email. So they don't need to expect that email from me straight away. As much as I would love to be, oh, emails come in, let's answer them straight away. I have kind of told myself, like, you do have to stop at a certain time, even though the time zones are weird. You've got to stop.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Well, it's good that you've got systems in place. Yeah. And the next thing I like to go into is your beautiful pre-order with your calendar. Can you tell me how you got the idea to do a calendar? Was it somebody who inspired you, or was it something that you thought, hey, people would love to have a calendar?
Yeah, so I did a calendar last year for the first time, and it sold well. It was just dogs last year in the calendar. And it was a group of friends. I've got a group of friends online that I talk, well, not just online, we do talk offline. And I kind of mentioned it to them that I've seen other people do calendars. I needed a calendar anyway. So it kind of started from that. And then this year, I wanted to do another calendar again because it had sold well. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll do another calendar. But because I'd not done enough... The thing with my originals, the thing with my calendars, is that they're always original pieces. I never use any of the commissions. So I'd not done enough dog originals. So I was like, well, if I do a calendar this year, I've got a lot of wildlife that I've started drawing now. So we'll do a mixture of the wildlife and the dogs. And it kind of took off. So I always aim to have my calendar out by September, October. And I released 2 batches, and then I tend to close the calendar sales in the middle of November, the end of October, beginning of November, because I like to miss the Christmas rush with posting. But then, as I've mentioned, I had that video that went viral, and people were asking about the calendar. So what I did was I opened up pre-orders again for the calendar, where I would only order the number that were pre-ordered. I had them open for about a week, 2 weeks, and then obviously it has closed, and then I've gone viral again, and people have been asking about the calendar, but I just know because of the postal system, by the time I get the calendars, I'm going to have missed the cutoff for international orders. So as much as I'd love to release it again, I have had to close it because I just won't get international orders out.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure your 2023 sales will probably go through the roof, and then you'll be
it's sold so much more than I ever expected. And prints have been selling, not that they didn't sell before, but I've definitely seen an increase now that I've got a bit more exposure and people are finding out about my work. It's been a crazy couple of months, but definitely.
Oh, fantastic. So the other thing that I'm very curious to ask, so you started doing this work 2020, right? So 3 years ago. Yeah. So say, for example, you're starting this new business, your business, and you're starting it today, 30th of November, let's say. Yeah. What would you do differently to what you did at the 3 years ago? Is there anything that you would do differently to start your business?
I don't know if there is, because I know that every step that I've taken has led me to where I am. I wouldn't say I've done anything dramatically wrong, apart from, I mean, it'd be nice to be able to say like I'd have more confidence in myself, but it's that confidence that has given me the chance to build up to where I am by building up my own confidence slowly and taking everything slowly. Like I don't rush into everything. I mean, the people that know me know that I take I'll say I want to do with everything I want to do. So I don't know if I would be changing too much. I would probably implement systems that would make it easier for me, especially it's only recently that I've kind of had a system to help me with that. But yeah, I think the way that I look at things is everything has led me to where I am today.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And it's quite an interesting question. And I know lots of people will have like different answers and different ways they will answer the question. And I have found that a lot of people will, say, no, I don't think I would change anything. Maybe I'll do this and this and that. But they know that the journey process that they went through, whether good or bad, has led them to where they are. So I think it is a very interesting way of looking at things. Yeah, so fantastic. All right. So then, you go.
As I look back, there isn't anything that majorly stands out. Yeah, sorry. I was just saying there's nothing really that majorly stands out that I would go, okay, I shouldn't have done that, because, as you say, everything's a learning curve. And yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So do you think that you would go back into your law career? Like, would you go back into it, or like you said, that it's there for you just in case you need it? But since you're obviously loving this work, do you think you'll go back to it?
I absolutely love what I do, and not having the stresses like law. I love the law, don't get me wrong, and the way that I was going to be doing the law, it was focused on the animal side. So there's days where I think, I wish I was. So like recently in the UK, they're talking about banning another dog breed here in the UK. And there was times where I was like, I wish I was in the law, because my master's degree was around the Dangerous Dogs Act here in the UK and banned breeds. And there's always that thought in my head, like, well, what if I'd have continued with the law? But the more I think about it, the more I love just being able to capture people's pets and hearing the stories of their pets and drawing so many different animals, that I'm like, as much as I miss doing that kind of research side of the law, I don't think, at the moment anyway, I don't think I ever see myself going back. Obviously, who knows what the future holds, but for now, I definitely don't see myself in that job role.
Yeah, sure. And I guess it is good, like, what you're doing, because you know that you're in the right place mentally, you're in the right place, emotionally, like you're loving what you're doing. And that's something that I think a lot of small businesses discover about themselves when they have their own small business, because some of the times, like, they think, oh, I don't think I would do that, or I don't think I can do that. And then they discover, when they look back, is when they go, oh my goodness, I am so strong. And yep, I did that. And I think one of your reels, I think you used the reel sound that says, this is something that when I look at it, I go, yep, I did that. So
yeah. I think as well, because I suffer with chronic migraines. So it's nice being a small business owner, knowing that if I have a day where I have a migraine and I've got to be in bed all day, I can take that day. I'm not worried that I've got to go into the office and be under bright lights and I've got to work. Having a chronic illness, it does give me that freedom. And especially when I don't know when I'm going to get a migraine, because I don't get any noticeable signs. I don't know when I'm going to have an anxiety attack. Because I have that uncertainty, it really does lead me to being able to just go with the flow. And because I am obviously less stressed and a lot happier with what I'm doing, I found that I am taking it a lot easier, and I maybe don't feel as anxious as I possibly would, or I'm not getting as many migraines as I would because of certain situations. So it's one of them where, as much as I love the law, and I have thought about going back and doing a PhD, I just can't see it happening, just because of how it's affected my lifestyle so much now. As you said, I'm so much more at ease and I'm so much happier. And it's that discovery of being a small business owner that I don't need to suffer within my life to be able to earn a living.
Yeah. Fantastic. And when you are working in your space where your creativity is flowing, I think there is an incredible healing process that goes on, physically, mentally, emotionally, and it is quite powerful. So I think after, during COVID, when people discovered that they were able to manage their stress level during that time and create a business, I was just like, wow, this is fantastic. And I know, COVID wasn't a nice thing, but it has, in a way, really shown people their capabilities.
Yeah, I have to, I lost friends to COVID, but I'm also grateful for COVID, because without that, I would have gone and done a PhD, and I would have been in an office reading the law or doing whatever within the law. But because I had that time, as horrible as it was at the start, because my mental health was suffering, it was really nice to be able to have that time to be able to go, actually, I can do something that I want to do. And even though people may have been skeptical at first, it's been nice that I've been able to keep going and show people that no matter what, even though the work I'm creating now was nothing like I was creating 3 years ago, but through that hard work and just constantly showing up and doing what I love, I've been able to create the business that I've got now.
Fantastic. And definitely just keeping going through, especially in the tough times, it really helps you realize that, wow, as human beings, we're very, very strong beings, and so many things we can do. And I get so inspired when I go through my feed on Instagram, because my small business is hair and skincare. And yet when I was doing on that page for hair and skincare, I just did not like it when the algorithm would try and be showing me just hair stuff. I'm like, no, I want this and that. So I thought, let me do a podcast, because I just get so inspired by watching all these different creativities that all these people are doing. And when I found your page, and I think it was because of one of your viral videos, I was like, damn, this woman, she's amazing. So I was just so thrilled when you said yes, you would do the interview. And I was telling my kids, my daughter who's 15, she loves drawing. I said, Evie, look, I'm gonna interview her. And my whole family, we were just like blown away by what you were doing. It was just like, what? Who does that? That's amazing. So good on you.
I think it's surprising, because people don't expect coloured pencils to do that. You kind of expect an artist to be using paints or normal pencils, but when you say you're doing coloured pencils, you automatically think of crayons that you give your children, and it's not crayons. Obviously it's artist grade pencils, but people just don't expect that you can create something with coloured pencils. So it's really nice. I really like telling people that I use coloured pencils, because it's nice to see the shock on their face.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And this is the perfect time to go into your award-winning event that happened. Can you tell me, what happened?
Yeah, well, I've won multiple awards, and I'm so grateful for them. It all started really early in the career with an online competition, and as I've mentioned so many times, confidence was a major thing for me that I lacked. And for me, entering competitions was a big step, because you're putting so many more eyes on your work. Obviously, I could control who was seeing it on my personal Facebook, and then I expanded to other social medias, being a bit more public. But when you're getting kind of judged by your peers, it's scary. So for me, entering competitions was about being seen by my peers, and just seeing, is it something that I could do? Again, it was another challenge and something that maybe I could eventually tick off. So I've had multiple pieces win awards. My favourite being, again, the Dalmatian. She actually won the People's Choice this year with the UK Coloured Pencil Society. And I think that's going to be like the top award that I could get, because not only did she get accepted into the exhibition by my peers, and was given an award by them, by getting that People's Choice, I've kind of, not that I needed the validation, but it's nice to have that validation from not only your peers, but the people's choice where it's other people that maybe don't know my work. So I'm very grateful for all the awards that I've been given. Definitely, it's still surreal that, you know, I put my work out there and someone's gone, yeah, here's an award for that piece, and that piece deserves one. But it's so nice to know that I am doing something right, and I can just keep improving and giving myself bigger goals to look for next time.
Yeah, fantastic. And that must be something that I guess your family in particular, mum, dad, you know, they must have been extremely super, super happy for you, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So Lorna, do you have a space where you create your work, or do you like to sometimes go out in the garden? How do you like to work? In a confined space or outside?
Yeah, so I actually started, I think like most artists, I started on the bed. I didn't have a space. It was just a bed, a piece of paper. And then as I kept sharing my work and it kept getting a little bigger, I kind of moved downstairs onto the living room floor. And then again, it kept growing, and then I got a desk. And then we moved house. So I now have this studio room, which is a work in progress. As you can see, there's boxes everywhere. We're currently renovating. There's patches on the wall. But it's nice that I've kind of, for me, it was nice to have a space where I can close the door and go, work day is over. Because when I didn't have that space, as I mentioned before, I would just work and work and work. I'd stay up till it was time to go to bed, and then I'd wake up and it was walk the dog, and then we're back in here. So it's nice that I now have a space where I can create. I can close the door, but I can have this space where it's quiet. I like it to be quiet, but I do like to have something on in the background, whether it's a documentary or a podcast or music. But I've still got that quietness. I've not got people walking past me all the time, and I'm not worried that someone's going to knock something on the drawing. I'd love to create outdoors. I've got a stunning view where we are. We're out in the countryside, so it's just fields. But the issue I find with working outdoors is even the tiniest bit of wind annoys me. So moving my pencils, if it's a sunny day, I can't see the photo on my iPad. So as much as I'd love to work outdoors sometimes, it's just not feasible for me. But it's nice where I am now that I'm sort of still connected with the nature because I can see it out the window directly behind you now. But again, I've got that confined space where I can close the door at the end of the day and go, right, work day done.
Yeah, fantastic. And I guess it is important to have that sort of control space, like you said, and wind could easily bring dust or whatever. And I can imagine how that could be a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, I've had clumsy mistakes, so I don't want them to happen again.
On that note, have you ever had to, have you started a work drawing and then you're like, man, I have to stop and start again? Have you had that? Yeah.
So the way that I work is I always start with the eyes. And if the eyes don't turn out how I want, I will restart a piece. So there was a piece, I did an Irish setter, started with her eyes, started adding the fur, and it's like a gut feeling, just an instinct that something's not right here. So I restarted that piece, and as soon as I restarted that piece, I was in a better headspace and it just looked so much better. But there's also been times where, we're only human. I've come upstairs and not realised I've got pasta sauce on my shirt and it's touched the paper. That means I'll restart a piece. So I think I've restarted 3 pieces. I don't think there's been many more, but I am a perfectionist. So if I'm not happy, I would restart a piece straight away.
Yeah. So do you like to create, because you said you like your space is quiet. Do you like music? Do you sometimes listen to music, or do you just want dead silence?
No.
And you go into your zone? What does your process look like?
Yeah, so I like the way that I like silence is there's nobody else in the house. It's weird when my partner's home because I'm I can't concentrate because I can hear him walking about downstairs. It's that kind of silence in the house that I like. But I do like listening to music, and I listen to all sorts, from country to rock to, I don't know, a bit of pop. It's it's not one particular genre as such, but it's music that I find easy to listen to. Or I like watching documentaries, again, animal related or law related, so crime related. I'd like having something on in the background, but something that I don't need to concentrate on. I don't like putting on, say, if a new film has come out, I won't watch a new film because I'll be concentrating on the film because I've not seen it. So when it comes to something, it's either something I can just listen to, I don't need to watch, or something that I know is not going to distract me. But I do like to have some kind of music or some kind of background noise, but the silence in the house and that there's nobody else here that I don't have to worry about in a way. Obviously, I've got the dog. He kind of sets my routine in the day. But it's that kind of an easy, relaxing setting is kind of what I like.
Very good. I like that. So I guess when you've got lots of work lined up, do you have to tell your partner, you need to go for a walk for 2 hours? Off you go.
It's more when he's got days off work, he's booked off, and I'm just like, right, I'm going upstairs. You've got the dog for the day. Just leave me alone. The door will be closed, and I might sort of put the music on a bit louder. But yeah, I find it harder to concentrate when he's home because I'm just like, well, should I be spending time with him? Should I have a day off today? And should we be doing something together? And it's one of those, it's again, finding that balance of should we be spending time together because he's finally got a day off, because he's as much a workaholic as I am. And it's one of them, again, finding that fine balance where maybe I have a deadline, so I can't stop, so I need you to disappear. Or, okay, maybe actually I can take a day off here and I'll do it tomorrow. It's finding that balance. But yeah, I'm quite set in my way in my routine. So it's when that routine is unbalanced, I'm just like, I don't know what to do with myself now.
Oh, fantastic. So on that note, do you have a very strict routine, or, do you get up in the morning? Do you check emails? What does your routine look like?
I do like to have quite a strict routine. I like knowing kind of what I'm doing in a way, but it's also flexible, so it's not too strict. So I get up, the first thing I do is sort my dog out. My dog's my priority. So we go for a nice long walk, and then I will come back, and as I said, I do TikTok live streams. So 9 o'clock every morning, I am drawing live on TikTok. So if I come back from a dog walk and I've got half an hour, I will spend half an hour doing some emails, do a TikTok live stream. Again, after the live stream, I do some more emails. I'll record for Patreon because I now teach people how to draw. And then again, it's like lunchtime dog walk. Then I've got another block where I either draw or I do email. Whatever needs doing, I've got like another block. So it's like my day's kind of set out into different blocks in between dog walks. So this is why I say my dog sets the routine, because we do morning dog walk, lunchtime dog walk. I tend to drag him out later on if I feel like I need to get up and stand and walk about, or we'll go to the field. And then again, obviously it's the evening, so it's tea time, and then it's kind of settled down. So it's kind of like as much as my routine is strict that I've got these blocks of day within the day, anything can change within those blocks if I need it to. So if I've got an appointment that I need to go to, I know, well, that's in that block, but I've got these other blocks to play with where I need to answer emails or I need to draw. So yeah, I've got a routine, but it's a flexible routine.
Yeah. Oh, very good. And I guess that's the blessing of having a business where you can control things and say, yes, no, I can do this. No, I can't do that. So yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah,
so do you take weekends off, or do you still work on the weekend?
I do work on the weekend, but it's something that I'm trying to get better at. So as I mentioned, I do dog shows and they tend to happen on a weekend. There is some weekday shows, but they tend to happen on a weekend. So I'm trying to kind of get back into doing my dog shows and spending my weekend doing them. But something that I also like to do on weekends is I'm still working, but it's not for clients. I like to do my original pieces on a weekend. So I'm not rushing about trying to get a drawing done. I can spend an hour on an original piece, and then if me and my partner have got plans, we can go and do them on the weekend. So it's something that I'm definitely getting better at. I wasn't good at it at first. As I said, I used to work 24/7, whatever days I would be working. But now, yeah, I'm trying to either we're going on a long walk with the dog, or we're gonna go out, or I'm gonna spend 2 hours doing an original piece. So I'm saying weekends are not for commissions; they're for myself. Whether that is that I'm still drawing, but I'm not working for the business as such. I'm doing it for me rather than somebody else.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So Lorna, we're getting close to the end and the end of our interview, and you've shared a lot of stuff. And I was thinking, was there anything else that you like to share that I didn't ask?
I don't know. I don't think there is much really. Apart from, I think anything that I want people to know is, even though you might lack confidence at the start, it is something that you can build on, and it's something that I found within myself, and it's something that I always talk about, is how I lacked self-confidence so much, but the more that I've drawn and the more that I've put myself out there, the more that I've got this supportive community that is showing me that I am doing something right. And yeah, just keep going even through the hard times, I guess. I'm glad that I did keep going, even though there's times where I probably thought this isn't what I should be doing. I should be back in the office doing law.
Yeah. So this is another question too. So in all of your social media platforms, which one would you say is your favorite platform where you get lots of, interactions with your followers? Or you may or may not have a favorite. You might like all of them.
Yeah, I think I like TikTok for my lives because I can interact in real time with people, and it's easier to interact when I'm talking. I'm not having to answer comments. But Instagram has been phenomenal for me this year. The support that I've had over there has been crazy. The amount of comments I've got and engagement has been, just absolutely overwhelming. So I would say TikTok and Instagram, I really like those two platforms. I try to use Facebook, but being the only person doing everything, it's so hard. So I tend to do Facebook every now and then kind of go quiet because I'm focusing on the fact that Instagram or TikTok has taken off. And I definitely say TikTok and Instagram are my favorite, just because of how I can interact with my community, even though it's in different ways. With Instagram, obviously, I'm finding it harder at the moment to interact just with the amount of comments. But TikTok, the live streams, I really enjoy doing the live streams and interacting with not only the community but other artists. As I said, I'm starting to teach people, so it's nice that people can come on the live stream and ask a question and I can demonstrate it to them rather than trying to explain over a message on Instagram, which is, I find, a lot harder than doing a real-time sort of demonstration on how I do something.
Yeah. Wow. So I didn't actually get to ask about your Instagram lives, and so you're also doing courses as well. Can you tell me more about your Instagram lives and how you're doing your courses?
Yeah, so I teach on it's a platform called Patreon. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, so it's on Patreon. So every month I release 2 tutorials. So one is a real-time tutorial of a full piece. So say this piece wasn't a tutorial, but say she was, my students would follow me step by step, all in real time, creating the whole piece with me. And then the second tutorial is more focused. So we'll do something like a dog nose or a horse's muzzle. So every month, I'm basically creating a tutorial where I talk through how to create an animal. Usually it's a mixture, whether it's an animal of my students choosing if they've all voted on a particular animal that they struggle with, or it's something that I want to draw and I feel like I can teach something from this. So the Arctic hare was a tutorial piece because that white on white, I know people find tricky. But then again, I will make sure that I throw in dogs every now and then because dogs is what I'm known for drawing. Whether my students want to draw a dog or not, there's going to be a dog at some point as a tutorial. And then, the lives, was mainly for my clients to start watching. Well, the live started out as me just sharing my artwork, and then obviously I started getting commissions so clients could watch me draw their pets, and then you build up a community of people that are watching you for the commissions and the artists that are watching you for tips. So it's nice that I've kind of got a blend of the two communities, where I've got people watching just for the joy of watching, and I've got people watching that maybe they just want help on, well, how have you created that dog fur and how would you do this? And it's nice that I can, integrate the two.
Yeah. So with your lives on TikTok, how long do they go for, or you just go with the flow?
So around an hour and a half. Yeah, I normally do around an hour and a half. I like to draw for an hour and a half, 2 hours before I have a break anyway. So I do about an hour and a half, sometimes an hour. It is kind of a go with the flow and how I'm feeling, and how, again, because the dog runs the house, is the dog needing to go out for a walk? But yeah, about an hour and a half. So there's a lot of time, and I try to do them in my mornings and my afternoons, evenings. So I'm hitting the different time zones as well as I can, because I do have followers that are all over the world, which I'm obviously very grateful for. And it's crazy to think that you've got people watching you from all over the world. But yeah, about an hour and a half to an hour. I used to do longer live streams, but I've realized, again, it's all about that taking care of myself. I don't need to always think of others and helping others. I've got to think of, how am I doing, and do I need to take that break now?
Yeah. So with the TikTok lives, that is obviously free, is that right? But then your Patreon is a payment. Is it a flat fee, or people just contribute?
So there's it's a flat fee on Patreon. It's I have 3 different tiers. So I've got I think it's £2 support tier. So just people that, because I've had people asking, how can we support you, but without like purchasing as such. So I've got a £2 support tier. I've then got the £5, I think I call it the practice tier, where you do the focus tutorials. And then it's a £10 for basically everything, the full tutorial and everything.
Oh, lovely. So then you must also be on YouTube, or just the, okay, good. Because I was thinking that's a great place for you to be, obviously, because you can have the, people joining to do the Patreon as well for you. All right.
Yeah,
well, we'll go into...
I actually started on YouTube before doing the Patreon, because I wanted people to see how I taught before paying a fee, because I just didn't like the idea that someone paid a fee and didn't like how I taught. So if they could watch something for free and then go, okay, I like how you teach. So it did all start on YouTube before I went to Patreon.
Okay. All right. So we're getting close to the end here, and with my small business podcast, I have a thing where I call SBO Inspo, which is Small Business Owners Inspiration. So you are, I think you're my 4th or my 5th. Anyway, so the guest before you left a beautiful inspirational word for you. And the funny thing is, they obviously had no idea who you were. And at the time when I interviewed them, I did not know it was going to be you, because I get a list of email of people telling me, yes, I can be interviewing, this is this other times and so forth. So so she left you a beautiful word of inspiration. So I will play that for you.
It's okay to fail. Failure is completely normal. It's a great learning process, but you can also allow yourself grace during that. We don't always get everything right, and that's okay.
So so that was her word of inspiration, and she was a little bit nervous because she's like, oh, I don't know if I should let that be. And I said to her, no, it's fine, because you have no idea, it could relate to the person. So Lorna, I'm going to ask you, was that helpful? And if so, does that ring true for you?
Yeah, it definitely rings true, because something that I always say, especially with artwork, is your mistakes are your friends. And making mistakes in art is how we learn. So any mistakes I may have made in previous drawings, even though you can't really see them, obviously I can see them, but it's those mistakes that I am realizing have helped me get my artwork to the level it is at now because I've learned from them. So it's, yeah, definitely. As much as I hated because I was such a perfectionist and I ever hated the thought of failing. It was a horrible thing, but yeah, it's so true that failing is going to happen, and it's how you kind of move on and use those failures to learn from, whether it's a big failure or just a minor mistake. Something is going to happen, and it's learning from them which is going to take you forward, and again just really help your business grow.
Yeah. Well, I think so the lady that left that lovely inspiration, her name is Adriana. So she makes jewelries, she goes to the markets and things like that. So she's going to be blown away that her word of inspiration has nailed it for you. So fantastic. So on that note, Lorna, it is your turn to leave an SBO inspo for my next guest. And I know who they are, but you have no idea who they are. No. So yeah, take it away. Fantastic. And I know who they are, and I have a feeling that is going to be a very, very perfect inspo for them. So yeah. All right, Lorna. So back to the social media links. Where can people find you? So you can talk about your Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and do mention them, because if people are not watching on YouTube, they can listen and that will help them find you.
Yeah, so I'm basically everywhere. I'm on Facebook as Lorna Dandy Animal Art, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube as I'm Lorna Dandy Animal Art everywhere. If the handle was too long, it's usually Lorna Dandy Art. So I think to find my Instagram, it's Lorna Dandy Art, but it is Lorna Dandy Animal Art. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Threads. And obviously my website, Lorna Dandy Art. I think that's all my social media. There's quite a lot.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing that. And I'd like to say congratulations on being an amazing colored pencil artist. You're doing great work, and congratulations. And I know you're going to go to amazing, amazing successes. And I'm just going to be so happy and proud that I got to interview you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been good.
My pleasure. All right, Lorna, you take care, and I'll see you on social media. Okay. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.